I give up. I just give up on life. What? What are you doing here? You've seen the news at this point, haven't you? Cyberpunk has been delayed again. At this point, I swear that those yellow screens are gonna just haunt my nightmares. Whatever, it's like, what's the point anymore? And wait a second, like have you guys seen this? AMD just announced brand new Radeon 6000 series cards, and they're actually competitive against RTX 3000 cards? What is this? Well, I feel a lot better now. Let's talk about that, I guess, because, well, it's getting really exciting in the GPU world right now. In fact, the last few days have been really interesting because not only have the RTX 3070 cards just launched, which was a launch that was rather peculiar to say the least. I'm gonna have a whole video talk about that coming very soon, so definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that out. But the big news right now is that AMD has come out of the gate with the RX 6000 series cards, and they are looking insane. And it looks like we'll finally get a good competitor to Nvidia at last. So let's go over what they announced at that event, shall we? So they showed off 3 brand new cards based on the new Big Navi RDNA 2 architecture, which boasts tons of improvements upon its predecessor. But one of the main things they're super excited about are the improvements to cache, creating what they're calling Infinity Cache, which is essentially super low latency cache that should be extra helpful at higher resolution gaming. With the 3 cards they showed off, each coming with 128 megs of the stuff. What they also were very proud of is that each of the cards, yes, even the cheapest one of the bunch, features 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. 16, that's 6 gigabytes more than the RTX 3080, the main card of the RTX 3000 launch, which is absolutely insane, and again will definitely help with 4K gaming, which definitely seemed like one of AMD's main targets for this launch, because they can go for like 10 seconds or talking about why their new cards will be amazing for 4K. And seeing how VRAM hungry games can be, that is definitely a huge plus. And also, as games get more complicated, it also made these cards more future-proof. So definitely, sooner rather than later, they might even start outperforming the RTX 3000 cards. Because here's the thing, just purely performance-wise, the difference isn't that big. Yes, the clocks are generally a tad higher on AMD graphics cards this time around, and the performance per watt has definitely also greatly increased, but it looks like Nvidia still has some kind of advantage in overall efficiency, plus not to mention that their RTX 3000 cards use GDDR6X memory rather than GDDR6, which is maybe not a lot slower, but definitely still slower. So that's probably another area where Nvidia definitely gets quite a bit of performance from. So it's very confusing that AMD didn't go for GDDR6X memory. Though probably the reason for that is that these cards do already have a lot of VRAM. So packing in 16 gigs of GDDR6X VRAM could have been very expensive and definitely increase the prices of these graphics cards. Because yeah, let's talk about prices. Even if the overall performance didn't blow us away compared to RTX 3000 cards, where AMD really came through is the price. So let's do a few comparisons, shall we? The RX 6900 XT, the top of the line card, which yeah, haha, so funny, they have 69 in the name for the product. That thing is supposed to compete with the RTX 3090, which costs $500 more, not to mention that it has 24 gigs of GDDR6X memory. However, despite the fact that the 6900 XT cost just $999, its overall performance is almost the same, in some cases better, than the RTX 3090. Now that is the crazy part of this launch. Because sure, the performance isn't groundbreaking, but the performance at such low prices, that is where the magic is here. And it's just so exciting to see that we can get so much performance at such low prices. Well, at least relatively low prices. You know, $1,000 to a graphics card is definitely still quite a bit. But compared to the $1,400 that a 3090 will cost you, well, you know. And the same story is pretty much true for the 6800 XT as well, their second best card, which is supposed to be competing with the RTX 3080. Pretty much matches it, if not outperforms it in performance. And yep, you guessed it, it costs less than RTX 3080. Now the difference in price isn't as big, with the RX 6800 XT costing just $50 less than the 3080, but hey, that's still something. And then the final card is the RX 6800, which I actually predicted correctly in my previous video talking about the new Radeon cards. That means that that entire top lineup will have more VRAM than the RTX 3080. But that leads to the question of why. Well, one reason could be is that they want to create a entry-level 4K graphics card, if that makes sense.
The Radeon RX 6800 is a fantastic entry into 4K gaming.
Link to which is going to be in iCards, by the way, and the card is an amazing deal for 4K, with it easily managing more than 60 FPS at 4K. However, from what they've been saying, the way they've completely redesigned, or at least allegedly redesigned the data flow to the cache with the Infinity cache could definitely also be a reason why these cards are so strong at 4K. Though, unlike the other two cards, with the 6800 I'm a bit more concerned, seeing how in the presentation they compared it to the 2080 Ti. Now, it may have been to show that there's a huge price difference between the two, and the 6800 even manages to beat the 2080 Ti despite that, but the 2080 Ti is a generation old at this point, and Nvidia pretty much admitted that it was ridiculously expensive at this point, not to mention that the other cards in the presentation they compared to RTX 3000 cards. So why compare it to a 2080 Ti? Why not compare it to a 3080? And yes, I know that an RTX 3070 would probably be a good comparison, and yes, I know it came out just a day before the presentation, but like still, they could have easily compared it to a 3080 and just said, yeah, look, the performance may be a bit lower, but it's also way less expensive, as the RX 6800 comes in at just $580. Yes, that's right, $580 for an entry-level 4K card with 16 gigs of VRAM that can boost up to 2 GHz, if not higher. Now, you may think that, okay, it looks like Radeon cards are now the obvious choice for this generation of graphics cards, right? And that's all not to mention that AMD cards will now also support ray tracing. Though what I found very interesting about the whole presentation is that they're definitely not as excited about it as Nvidia was, where both during the RTX 2000 and RTX 3000 launches, they talked a lot, way too much about ray tracing performance. While here it is more like if you blink you miss it kind of thing. They were just like, yeah, we have DirectX 12 Ultimate features like ray tracing, It was very interesting to see the different, level of excitement for ray tracing from the two companies. But hey, ray tracing is coming to Radeon cards, so that's also super exciting. So with ray tracing now available on both cards, and the AMD cards having relatively the same performance at a way lower price, well, you think that they're the obvious choice, right? Well, it definitely depends on your situation, because Nvidia cards do have a few things going for them. Of course, there's the still excellent NVENC encoder, especially for people like, say, streamers or YouTubers or all the kind of creative types. It does come in really handy. And AMD sadly still have no real response to NVENC, which is pretty disappointing. Number two, there's the whole Nvidia suite of tools. Things like, Nvidia Broadcast, Omniverse Machinima, Highlighters, Shadowplay, Ansel. All those things are pretty cool, and even if you don't care about most of them, most people will find at least one they find helpful. And also, if you do have the extra money, the 3090 still stands as a good choice if you especially need those extra 8 GB of VRAM it offers over the 6900 XT. Now, it's still insane that AMD is able to combat Nvidia at the highest of ends. Like, it's been so long since AMD really had a response for the flagship Nvidia products, but if you do have those extra $500 laying around, then the 3090 may still be the better option. But if you don't have those extra $500, then the 6900 XT is an amazing choice, and you should definitely go for that instead. And not to mention that all those cards will be coming very soon as well. So we'll just have to wait and see if AMD will have the same shortage issues as Nvidia, and if not, how much are they gonna capitalize on the fact that Nvidia has barely any cards in circulation. Because let's be honest, for so many impatient people, they won't even grab an Nvidia graphics card now, and instead of go for an AMD card just because they can't find an Nvidia card anywhere. But anyway, I am super excited about this launch. Let me know what you think of all of this. It is absolutely insane. It's absolute insanity, and I'm so happy to see some real competition in the GPU market once again. Between RTX 3000, RX 6000 and the new generation of consoles, it really is a good time for high performance gaming at really affordable prices. So here's to hoping that it will continue, and hey, if you want me to say review one of those upcoming graphics cards on this channel, well sadly my channel is a bit too small right now for AMD to care and send over any review samples. So hey, if you subscribe to this channel, if you share it with others, it definitely does help. It definitely does go a long way, and hope means that sooner rather than later I'll be able to do fun stuff like that and won't just be treated like a nobody, I guess. This just got really depressing again. Whatever. Yeah, also my Patreons, I think, it's going to be down in the video description below, and even $1 a month goes a long way in helping my channel. And also let's thank my patrons Captain Burns and LKB, thank you ever so much. Down there's also a link to my Discord if you want to talk to me as well, Discord, whatever else really. And also down there's our Amazon links if you want to buy anything from Amazon. You don't pay anything extra, we get some money, it's a win-win. I'll probably link to some really good B515 motherboards so you can create the perfect all-red gaming setup. But anyway, that's really it, so I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone, goodbye.